All right, hi and welcome back. In today's video, I want to talk a little bit about money with you. Tends to be a fairly controversial subject for us practice owners and healers and people out there trying to make a difference in the world. I've been a coach, as I've mentioned in previous videos, for many years now, really since 2005. And I've really heard the entire gamut of money stories out there in terms of practitioners, business owners believing money is the root of all evil, or it doesn't grow on trees, it's in scarce supply. If it wasn't for money, I think I'd actually enjoy this whole thing a lot more. I've really heard it all. And what I want to make sure of today is that your money story is actually serving you as a business owner. So, we've talked a lot about how to structure your business to get a client attraction system in place, how to use Google and Facebook to get more patients or clients in the door. And hopefully, a lot of that information is inspiring you to take action and to really take your marketing seriously in terms of getting more front end visibility, automating what you're doing, getting your expert positioning set up more effectively, and just upgrading your entire business model. That's a lot of what I help my clients with, and it's what I'm passionate about doing. But here's the truth: if we don't work on your mindset and your beliefs and your baseline perceptions of the world, none of that matters all that much. It still matters, but it's going to be way more effective and it's going to flow so much better for you if you have a story that serves you in relation to money and abundance and prosperity and your value. So, the first thing that I want you to do is take out a pen and paper, or you can just do this on your notepad on your computer. And I want you to write down in detail what you were taught to believe. What were you taught to believe about money? What is your kind of core truth about money? What did your parents teach you? The schooling system that you grew up in, religious figures? What do you feel like you learned from the media? What do you believe to be true about money at this point in your life? And just write down whatever comes to you. Do you generally associate a positive or negative connotation with money? Does it feel like a source of limitation in your life, a burden, a constraint, or does it feel like a source of freedom, of enjoyment, of even like creative joy? What comes to mind for you in your relationship with money? And write down some of the major life themes that you notice in your personal relationship with money. And then also spend a little bit of time writing down what is your day to day relationship with money like? How do you pay the bills? How do you feel about paying the bills? How do you relate to your day to day finances in running your practice or your business? Um, what tends to come up for you every day? What is the emotional theme that you notice around money? So just take note of it. Like right now, I just want you taking inventory of this stuff. You don't really need to try to change it or analyze it too much. Just like kind of get it out there. Like make it conscious to yourself what you've been taught to believe about money. Because here's the thing: whatever you're noticing, whatever your story is around money, whatever you're writing down there, there's a direct relationship between your outer circumstances and what you're writing down. That there's a very accurate mirror that's being represented back to you in the form of your circumstances that is really showing you what your beliefs are and where even your limits might be, where you're bumping up against your edge. So you want to write down your money story because the amount of money you're making in your practice is really a reflection of that story. If you are currently making, like, let's say you're grossing $80,000 a year in your practice, what's important to note is that on a bigger, kind of more ultimate level, that number is a 100% accurate reflection of your beliefs. It's not random. It's not that just, that number randomly popped out of the universe and that's what you're making because it's just some random process. It is actually just the opposite of that. Whatever your beliefs are completely showing up in the form of your outer financial situation right now. So if you want to upgrade your financial life, if you're making 80,000 a year and your real goal is to make 300,000 a year in your practice, as much as we want to get those outer systems in place, get your marketing set up the right way, we also want to get your mindset expanded, get you shifting out of money stories that don't serve you. So the way I look at it is that these beliefs that you've written down, these layers of conditioning that you've grown up with, that were pumped into you, the way I see it is that these are all nothing more than stories, meaning that they're entirely fictitious. They're myths. They are, in that sense, malleable. They're empty of inherent meaning. They might seem very real, and they might, they definitely like solidify an outer reality that makes it look even more real. But I want you to start seeing everything you've written down there as very open. It's very changeable. And you don't need to spend 10 years, 20 years beating yourself up and working really, really, really hard to change those money beliefs. Amazingly enough, as human beings, we have this incredible capacity, if we're willing, if we're open, non insistent, on being able to fluidly shift out of those beliefs starting now. So, if you start to see all of this as stories taking place in your reality, what is your new money story? If you want to, what I would encourage you to do now is write down, what does your ideal money story look like? How do you want to feel about money? What is, both in terms of like the actual circumstances that are showing up in your life, what would be ideal for you with money, and then also your emotional relationship. How do you want to impart meaning to money? What story do you want to be telling? And here's what I want you to do. I want you to write that story down for 5 minutes a day for the next 30 days. A new money story as if it's here now already. So you're not writing it down like, in the future, I will feel this way about money. What you're doing is writing it down as if it's already you. It's already happened. So an example in your outer reality might look like, hey, I'm just very appreciative that I'm currently making $300,000 a year in my practice. And I'm doing that in a way that is really fulfilling to me and is offering a really valuable service to my community. And I see it as a true win-win because the more I make, the more I'm able to help. And by the way, that is the way that I see this. And you're writing down more creative stories like that. So instead of getting locked into your current story that might limit you and kind of constantly repeat the same patterns over and over again, I want you to spend the next 30 days just telling a new story about money, writing it down as if it's already here. And once again, that's both in terms of the outer circumstances and in your emotional relationship with money. So get creative with it. Take different facets of your financial life and tell a new story about it. How do you pay bills in a new, more empowering way? How do you relate to debt in a new, more empowering way? You can tell a story about not being in debt anymore for sure. And you can also tell a story about like, hey, yeah, I have $100,000 of student loan debt right now, for instance. But instead of feeling like that's a huge problem in my life and something I hate and I have a huge aversion towards, here's my new story about it, that I can use that debt to kind of crystallize my offerings even more, to get more intense about digging into my value and upgrading my services so I can make more money to pay off that debt faster. The debt's a catalyst to help me do that. So what I want you to make sure you're doing is that whatever is limiting you, causing you suffering or struggle in your story, that you drop your insistence that that is the way it has to be, and instead start to get more creative in your way of seeing what you're up against right now, both in terms of laying out a new circumstantial reality in your mind and also looking at your actual current physical reality through a new lens of being more creative. So 5 minutes a day, tell a new story about money, one that empowers you, inspires you, and shakes up a lot of the trauma, stagnation, limitation that you might have around money. So money tends to be one of those life themes that for a lot of us just stirs our stuff up kind of more than anything else. It triggers our fear, our survival mode. And as a business owner, we really want to help you transcend that and go to a higher level of awareness in your relationship with money. And the beauty of this is it has nothing to do with how much money you're currently making, how much debt you're in. It has nothing to do with your circumstances. You can choose to have a more empowered story about money starting right now. And that is always the gateway into those circumstances shifting. We have to get your energy, your story, your emotions shifting around money right now before we expect those outer circumstances to reflect that back to you. So I just recently came out with a new book called The Instant Upgrade that's really all about shifting into higher frequencies of reality through telling new empowered stories. And I actually have 9 tools in this book that I use to help you shift out of limitations into higher levels of performance, higher levels of abundance, more creative states of flow in your life. And telling empowered stories is one of those tools. I have 8 other ones, though, that I really like that have helped me on a profound level in my life. They've helped a lot of my clients to this point. As of the shooting of this video, you can get that book for free. You just have to pay shipping. It is a published book. It'll be shipped out to you anywhere in the world. You can just go to theinstant.upgrade.com. It's a funny story, real quick, just about how I wrote this book. I actually wrote this entire book in a 10-day period. So it's 220 pages. I wrote it all last summer over a 10-day period, which to me is still just kind of crazy and amazing that it came about that way. But the way that I did that is largely by using these tools. I was able to tap into a much higher level of focus and performance and just kind of actualizing this project so much faster than I normally would have by using these particular tools. So the feedback on this book has been awesome. I've really enjoyed hearing people's feedback and their stories about how shifting out of their current frequency that's limiting them and into this higher level of reality is just totally changing the game. It's totally transforming their life. I've heard from dozens of my clients and people that I'm working with all over the world in this regard. So I'm thrilled to have this book out there. And if you want to check it out, just go to theinstant.upgrade.com. Yeah, if you see on that page that it's still for free, that's awesome. I'm probably going to be keeping it that way for a while. You just need to pay for shipping. And it'll be shipped out to you anywhere in the world. You'll get it in a few days. Cool. And it's going to be a good adjunct to everything else you're learning from me with marketing and just getting more visibility, getting client attraction systems, getting automation set up in your business. So we definitely want you incorporating the deeper spiritual mindset work as an integral part of this process, okay? So cool, guys. Once again, Kevin Doherty here. Thank you so much for checking out this video, and I'll stay in touch with some other cool stuff coming down the pipeline here in the next few days, and look forward to helping you out as much as I can. Change that money story. It's going to make a huge difference to your long-term success. Okay, guys, all the best. Take care.